Are you stuck in quasi recovery? You know, that place where you've made so much progress, but you're still not fully free? Let me know in the comments if any of this sounds familiar. I've gained weight, I'm doing better, but there's still this voice in my head controlling so many of my food decisions. One of my biggest struggles, letting the clock dictate when I should eat instead of trusting my body's hunger cues. I'll think, is it too early? Should I wait another hour? Here's the reality, there shouldn't be any rules. While I'm not a medical professional, what I do know is if I'm hungry, I should just eat. I've made all this progress, and yet I still let fear take control. I've heard an analogy that stuck with me. This person said, think about eating like you would using the restroom before you go on a long trip. You go to the bathroom before leaving, even if you don't have to, right? The same thing goes with eating. If you have a meeting at noon, it makes sense to eat a snack or even your whole lunch beforehand. But here's where the eating disorder voice creeps in. If you eat too soon, how much more will you end up eating today? That fear of what if is what keeps me stuck. Let me share some other daily challenges I'm still trying to fight through. Breakfast and timing remain difficult as well. I have this invisible boundary in my mind about eating before a certain time in the morning. I know these rules I've created sound ridiculous, but my anxiety still overpowers that logic. Interestingly, my somewhat unpredictable work schedule has become helpful. When meetings shift or calls run long, I'm forced to challenge those anorexic thoughts and eat outside of my ideal timeline. These moments, though uncomfortable, are actually valuable opportunities to practice flexibility. Dinner has always been a challenge for me. For 18 years, I rarely ate with my husband, sticking to my own food rules, avoiding certain meals, and missing out on moments together. But I'm working on changing that. Lately, I've been making an effort to eat the same meals as him, not just challenge my fears, but to rebuild our connection. We now go out to eat at least once a week, pushing me outside of my comfort zone. It is not always easy. Depending on the restaurant and the challenge I've set for myself, I can be very difficult before dinner, completely consumed by anxiety and negative thoughts about what I'm about to eat. But the funny thing is, once I eat, I'm fine every single time. My poor husband has been so patient through this process. Each meal is another step forward for both of us. My biggest fear in recovery is eating different foods. While I now consume a healthy amount, okay, maybe a little less than I should, I stick to the same breakfast, lunch, and snack almost every day. Honestly, it's about control. By eating the same meals day after day, I can calculate and predict my intake. If I start eating different foods with different calories and amounts, I won't be able to mentally track everything. And that uncertainty is just too powerful. And I've heard it all. Why won't you just eat? You know what to do. Why can't you just go over this? I've always wanted to respond. I know. I just don't know how to get better. I'm just too scared. The truth is, I know exactly what my eating disorder felt like. I've lived with it for over 26 years. What I didn't know was what recovery would look like, or scariest of all, how I would look. That unknown was still just terrifying. Dr. Tara Stewart explains this beautifully. We're neurologically coded to fear what we don't know. It's a survival mechanism. Our brains interpret uncertainty as danger. Facing our fears and stepping into the unknown is frightening, which is why we resort to what feels safe and familiar, even when safe is slowly destroying us. But we need to take action, remind ourselves to celebrate every win, because recovery is hard. You wouldn't be watching this video if you thought overcoming an eating disorder was easy. Each meal challenge, each fear food, each dinner with family, these are all victories worth acknowledging, no matter how small they seem. The only way out is through. This Robert Frost quote has become one of my favorites. If you're not taking action, you're not doing the work, and you're not going to make progress. I've spent months researching, reading books, listening to recovery podcasts, but real change only happened when those resources inspired me to take tangible steps forward. I'm still working through my struggles, but making progress every day. What about you? What's one thing that feels manageable to tackle today? Maybe it's something similar to my struggle, eating just 10 minutes earlier than usual, or taking that last bite even when everything in you is screaming not to. Whatever it is, we have got this. Let's keep pushing forward together. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and know that I'm not alone in this quasi-recovery space. Thank you for watching and for your continued support.